Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight for Juice Plus University, and this is our third round. And tonight we are talking about state, and we've got Reagan Dean, myself, and we've got Jeff Olson, who is also on the call. And we are hoping to have Lauren join us, and she's having issues getting on. Oh, she's got to reboot her computer. So anyway, this is a really, really important topic.
You don't need to be a technical genius to do the Juice Plus business.
You really don't. So anyway, Jeff, I don't know if you want to share a little bit about, what we're talking about tonight, and hopefully by then Lauren will be on her way.
You bet. You bet. Welcome, everyone. And so this is the third session, sort of the website chat session of our attempt to provide some content via video so you can see who we are, get a little sense of our personality. If you're new to this whole conversation, we started out a month ago with really ground zero, meaning your story. Everyone comes into this business, has their story, and then gets on Juice Plus and develops a story. My story when I started out, I didn't have a story. The earth didn't move for me when I got on Juice Plus, and it took me about 15 months to find my story. And so we unpackaged kind of what that is in terms of your ability to go out and share, share your story. Because in the end, your story isn't really about you. Your story is about how others feel when they hear your story. And so if they can see themselves in what you present or what you share, then number one, you're going to get alignment. And two, the business that we're in is interesting or cool. Tell me more. And so that's the foundation of for new people, having your business story, having your product story. And so we started out with story a month ago, and we unpackaged story really to kind of some pillars, and we use the acronym ARIEL. And ARIEL stands for attraction. Why bother? What attracted you to this whole conversation? You need to understand what attracted you to the product, what attracted you to the business, what attracted you to this community, what attracted you to the people, right? So the attraction was number one. R for resistance. Everyone comes in with some baggage. Although the millennials, it's refreshing, they have less baggage than us old farts, but everyone comes with some sort of they already kind of know what they know, but maybe they don't know what they don't even know. And generally, at least for myself, I had a lot of resistance around sort of network marketing and what that meant and the stereotypes around that. And I didn't know what I didn't know. I was intellectually ignorant, and I had a big ego. And my story was I had some resistance, and the hardest thing for me to do in this business was surrender. R is resistance, right? And then I talks about what's your identity coming into this business. When I started out, I was a corporate guy, and how did I explain myself doing this side thing? And you grow into an identity, and now I'm a winsome warrior. I'm a dad on a mission. I want to change. I want to move the needle in medicine. You have an identity, and it's really important to understand what that is. And so identity was the third pillar in your story. E stands for effort. This business is easy to do. It is easy not to do. And your effort, it's funny, we look for people with a work ethic who are coachable. Those are sort of two underlying pillars, but effort. What's your effort? And we want to meet you where you are, whether you do a little or whether you do a lot. And whether you do a little or a lot, you want to be effective in your effort. And so that was the E in ARIEL. And then L stands for lifestyle. I consider us a lifestyle company, and across a lot of different areas. So that's ARIEL. So that was stories. That was the first session. The second session was around what Tony Robbins calls strategy. We have a video on that on the Juice Plus University Facebook page. And strategy, said a different way, is really your skills. And that's what Eric Worre talks about in the GoPro book. We have a tremendous amount of resources as a company. We train about a half a dozen skills, which will change your life, change your business. And those skills are timeless. And so session 2 was about strategy and or skills. And if you haven't read the GoPro book, I would start there. So tonight we come into, if you've got your story, you've got your why, you understand who you are, what you're about, why you're doing it, and you've got a toolkit on how to go to work, then what is it that takes you from all of these resources? We're a very resource-rich company, and gets you in the mindset of being resourceful. And there's a big difference between the two, and that is what Tony Robbins calls state. And hopefully we'll have Lauren join us tonight because she is one of the masters of state, training with Tony Robbins for 20 years. You know, Reagan, you just got back from a wonderful state training in Fiji. You can maybe share a little bit about that. But I think tonight what we want to impart to you is nobody comes into this business with, actually I take that back. Not everyone is born with an entrepreneurial mindset. But how do we train sort of the thinking, kind of the right side of the bell curve thinking that attribute to entrepreneurs, attribute to successful people? How do we train that? Some of it comes from emotional response. Some of it comes from just doing the work and repetition. And so we're going to unpackage state tonight. So that's kind of where we are in our third session. 2 weeks from now, after we come back from conference, we're going to put it all together in terms of an action plan, what we call motion. But tonight it's all about state. So maybe, Reagan, you can jump in and just talk about maybe your thoughts on state, and we'll go from there.
And it looks like Lauren has to, she's having a difficult time, so we're just not going to worry about it right now. But, you know, here's the thing. We've got a lot of systems on what to do, but you know what? We've got to change our limiting beliefs, and that's when we're talking about state. So it's, you know, those limiting beliefs are that unconscious voice that holds you back. And so part of what we do is raising our standards, which is different than skills. And, you know, you've got to have the right strategy. So like using maybe a GoPro system, if you're familiar with the GoPro book, there's other systems out there too. Transform 30 is a great strategy. You know, those are great strategies, but if you don't have the right belief and the right state of mind, it's going to be really hard to be able to have the right strategy with the wrong belief and have things work out your way. So, you know, so how many people really want to take action? Well, we want to take, if we're here and you're here listening, I'm sure you probably want to take action. And you know what? It's the little things that mean everything. It's, you know, just a few degrees of change that get you to that different destination. So it doesn't always need to be a big change. And sometimes I'll call some of my team members and say, you know what? You are so great, but you just need a little tiny tweak just to change that course a little bit. So, you know, sometimes it's just a matter of being, you know, deciding that you're going to raise your standard and step up. And when you do that, then your life's going to change. So that decision, though, happens in a heartbeat. And, you know, in today's world, when you're doing a poor job, you get okay results or no results. And if you do a good job, a great job, you get good results. So, but to have outstanding standards, that's what it takes for you to get outstanding results. So, you know, good is just not good enough anymore. So we want to have excellence, and we want to even have more than excellence. We want to be outstanding and way beyond. So again, you know, the difference between that being just good and being outstanding, it's just a little tiny 2 degrees of separation. So you kind of want to think about when you're doing this, if you're brand new, you're growing a muscle and you've got to get uncomfortable. You go to the gym, you work out, you're going to get uncomfortable. And the same is true with your passion around this. And you want to give yourself that gift of raising your standard. So, did you know that?
I think let me just add to that. I think, you know, one of the things that people get stuck on around state, around really mindset, is another way to think of it. Eric Worre in GoPro calls it programming. We come with kind of a history, kind of that default. What's the default of the computer? He calls that programming. How do we retrain the default? You know, we have a worldview. Jim Rohn says everyone has a worldview. Everyone comes with a philosophy. What is that philosophy? What is that worldview? And so people enter this business in all different ways, shapes, or forms, and not everyone is sort of programmed with a growth-oriented mindset, with an initiative mindset, with a resourceful mindset, with a bring-it-on sort of mindset. You know, Gordon Hester's got a great saying. He says, you know, fear, bring it on. And so it's not positive thinking, and that's what I want everyone to sort of understand. At an intellectual level, this is not positive thinking.
That's right.
Robbins, you know, Tony Robbins is built, you know, he's done this work for 40 years. We've got another guy who's had some success in our company, Bob Samara, with the whole Image Nation, the image work. And whatever you choose become a student of that work, because what I will tell you is the mindset, it's like anything. You nurture it, you train it, you condition it. We condition what we do. And if you're not already there, and no one is ever, completely there, that work is part of what we do. As David Beaver says, this is a personal growth course disguised as a business, and it's who you become.
Right. That
reflects your paycheck. And so, as Jim Rohn says, you want more, you got to become more. And those courses, things have changed, you got to change. And all of that sort of internal challenge and struggle. You got Jeff 1 and Jeff 2, and those are, sort of the devil and the angel thing. And all of that work is the work of state and the work of mindset. And I think a blunt or big emotional trauma can be a change for people to get a different state, or a positive emotional experience. Experience changes things. That's why Tony Robbins does immersion work. Through that experience, you change. A pivot happens. But the other way to change is through repetition. It's kind of that Chinese water torture, that drip, 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 drip. Some of these people call them affirmations, but this repetition of saying things changes state, changes mindset. And so this is not positive thinking. It is work. It's good work. And it applies to your whole life, not just our business.
Yeah, and so state is really, Jeff, it's just managing your emotions. It's that feeling. It's a pattern, how you think and how you feel in your body, what you do, and things that can change your state are triggers or different habits or different beliefs. And Tony Robbins says, you don't get depressed, you do depression. You have the ability to change that and make that decision. So do you care if I kind of go through how to change your state real quick?
Please, that'd be great.
Okay. So physiology is part of your state, and that means that's your body, okay? So how are you holding yourself? If you're kind of like this and you're kind of bummed out all the time, or you're kind of timid to call somebody, it doesn't really matter. Let's say you're standing in front of somebody. If you're kind of, your body is like this, but you're saying all the right things, they're not going to read that you're in a good place or even believe you. So, how do you hold yourself? Hold your body up. You can change your state in a moment just by, put your shoulders back, smile and chin up, head back, confidence. Sometimes people also call that posture. And I always like to say this to the women in the room. We all know this, right? We've all had that girlfriend that walks into the room with a smile on her face, and every woman in the room turns around and go, okay, what's wrong? What happened? And the girl will burst into tears. So, you know that she's not okay, even though she said the right things and with a smile on her face, because it was in that physiology. So one thing, when you guys are getting ready to go out and talk to somebody, just really be thinking about, how are you holding yourself? Get yourself in that physiology of confidence, because communication is only 7% verbal. 93% of communication is nonverbal. Okay. So then you apply that to the good system, and things will start to happen. Okay. The other thing that you can use to change your state is your language. And you can use what we call TV. It doesn't stand for television, though. It's transformational vocabulary. So just the difference of something like, I like you a lot versus I love you. So you can see how that changes your state. So, you have to know that you move yourself with words more than anybody else. So, what you're saying, what you're hardwiring in your head and what you're saying about yourself, if you're always saying, well, I don't know how, or I don't know what I want, or whatever, that's not going to put you in a good state. So you want to use focus and belief and start saying the right things to yourself. Like, I am a great leader. I do know what to say. I can figure it out. I am successful. I am an expert. So, change the physiology and then your languaging, and eventually you're going to be able to say these things out loud. And then the other thing,
Reagan, let me just jump in for a second. Is you had said that someone responds, well, I don't know the answer to XYZ, whatever that I don't know. And the question that you want to ask yourself as soon as you hear yourself say that, first of all, is a lot of this is just having an awareness of how you're being. Like, oh, I'm being like that. I have an awareness of it, right? So as soon as that triggers, I don't know how to fill in the blank. then the question you ask yourself, what if I actually did know?
That's right. What if I did know?
What if you did know?
Yeah.
That just like puts you in a whole different realm of say, what if I did know, and then fill in the blank. I would do X, Y, Z. And it's sort of just plain make believe. My kids say this all the time. It's like, I don't know, Dad. I'm like, and I drive them crazy because they know what's coming. They say, well, what if you did know? And but that's just a very simple little trigger to put you in a state of possibility to solve whatever you're doing.
Right. And that brings us to the last piece of state, which is your focus. So what is it you're focusing on? Because what you focus on is what grows. And so what's rattling off in your brain all the time? Are you thinking thoughts of possibility, like you just said, Jeff? Or are you worrying about, oh my gosh, what if they don't come to the event? What if they say no? Well, what if they say yes? What if they say yes? Maybe that's a better question to ask yourself, when you pick up the phone or you're going out to meet somebody, So, so again, physiology, your languaging, and what you're focusing on helps you to change your state. And you might find that there's something that you can do that will kind of remind you to change your state. Some people like to wear a little rubber band and snap themselves every time they don't have a good thought and change that as a reminder. Maybe it's in Tony Robbins, we learn to make your move, say yes, So maybe it's something that just gets you there. Maybe it's, for some people, maybe that's going and lymphosizing, which is like jumping on a mini tramp or something that just kind of gets you back and saying some incantations like, I am a great leader. I am a great leader. I am a great leader. Or I know what to say. And when I invite people want to come to my events and people want to join my team. And so you can start to do these things over and over that helps you get into that positive mindset. And it really does work. So
one of the things that is important also with this work of state is state puts you in a frame of mind to go out and engage with the world. But the more, and that's one side of the coin. The other side of state is how you get to a place and get to a state when you're alone in the room by yourself.
Right.
And as we all know, there's roller coasters in life. There's roller coasters in business and lifes, and we all have drama and stories and all of these things that we can point to and say, yeah, but, or yeah, this, and so in the quiet moments when you're alone in the room, shifting your own state for yourself is probably more of it's the other side of the coin. And what I guess someone shared this with me a while ago. I thought it was really powerful. Most people go out and do, so they can have, and then they can be happy, right? So we're do to have, and it's just backwards. It's getting into that state is your being. How are you occurring to the world? And if you do not have a joy found in effort, whether you're parenting or whether you're interacting with a knucklehead neighbor, or if you don't have a way of being, what is your way of being? Maybe that's some work for you this week, is to say, ask her, how do I occur to you? Maybe that's your homework for the week, is start to ask people, how do I occur to you? And I think you'll be surprised to hear what people say, because it'll probably be better than you think, because we're always our own worst critic.
That's right.
How you are being is first base. How you are being then determines what things start to show up, and that's starting to get to the sort of the doing, and then you end up with the have. And so it's be, do, have versus do, have, be, right? And so being is really a different way to think of state. Who are you being? How are you occurring? And that is important as you get ready to go out and engage with people and interact, but it's also more important as you talk to yourself. So
yeah, and so one thing too that we talk a lot about is pull motivation versus push motivation. And pull motivation is when you are pulling yourself towards what you want. And so you want to really link massive celebration to your outcome versus that push motivation, like, oh, I got to go do this. You're going to get burned out with push motivation. So who motivates you? You do. So you want to decide what you want, commit to it, and resolve you're going to do it. But you also want to celebrate the little wins on the way there, instead of always, like Jeff said, beating yourself up, because change is never of ability. It's always a matter of motivation. And not everybody is going to say yes. Not everybody's going to join your team. Not everybody's going to stay taking Juice Plus. That's okay. You only fail when you give up and you didn't learn something. So you want to associate that changing now with massive and extraordinary immediate pleasure. And you want to celebrate that with your body, your mind, your voice, and you want to start conditioning your nervous system to succeed so you can start to be in that great state when you talk to everybody. And guess what? It becomes a habit. And you'll notice that once you get into that habit, it gets a lot easier just to kind of be that positive person that's, you know, raising your standards, breaking through limiting beliefs, and having a great state of mind, and, you know, getting into action, and not settling for good, but being outstanding.
And here's another sort of invitation for the rookies and the new people is, you know, it's I heard it said once that your income is sort of the average reflection of the half a dozen people you tend to hang out with the most.
Or 5.
Probably your state is the same way. Your mindset is probably the same way. I would guess that if you start hanging out with people that you admire, if you start asking to be mentored or seeking out or getting people's cell phones or coming to conference and getting into your cell phone, you know, some top people that you know, and begin to start to you know, success leaves clues. And those people that you're attracted to, that you admire, that you lean into, that you say, cool, I want to, like, they got this little pixie dust thing that you want to know more about. You know, as Sean Meyer says, you know, people like that, you know, or be up to something, because people want to be involved in people that are up to something. And so for you, if you're not hanging out with those people, if you're not hanging out with you know, if you can't list, you know, a dozen people off the top of your head that have that sort of state that you admire, or if that's too overwhelming, start with 3, right? Or find one, you know, and lock arms with that person. As Jay Martin says, you know, the best tool in this business is to find a buddy. And I will tell you, if you don't have a buddy yet in this business, you need to hunt, seek, find. You know, that's your verb for the week, is, you know, for this maybe quarter, is to find a buddy, because a buddy can get you back on state, back on point, back into the way that you're supposed to be in the world. And if you don't have a buddy, they're probably the most important factor in you keeping that mindset of an entrepreneur, that mindset of someone who is, you know, built for this. So.
Yeah, so a buddy upline or even a buddy in your own downline. And there's nothing better to change your state than maybe a brand new customer or a brand new team member that you get to go and mentor. And what an honor it is to be able to help other people be successful. So, you know, maybe it's time to just reprogram. It's just something to think about, you guys, just to reprogram how you're being. Raise that standard, break through those limiting beliefs, change your body language, what you're thinking about and focusing on. Use TV transformational verbiage instead of limiting yourself or talking down at yourself. And then don't just settle for good. You know what? You can be outstanding. It's only 2% more effort to be outstanding. So it's a lot easier. It's a lot more fun. And you're going to have a lot better adventure here at Juice Plus if you can do that.
And I will end with Pete Ward is a mentor of mine, and he's got this wonderful training. Maybe we'll get it on film someday, called New Distributor Psyche. And he goes through this long story of ups and downs and inviting for events and no shows. And he tells all of sort of the frustrations of our business. And it's a wonderful video. Maybe we'll get it on tape for you here by the end of the year. But Mitra, one of my mentors, has a really great saying, is there is nothing, no thing, zero, nada. There's nothing in this business that can't, there's no problem that cannot be solved by going out and getting, you know, 3 or 4 brand new customers or a brand new excited distributor. Like, that changes everything. If you're in a slump, if your batting average is not doing so good, you can change your state like that with a couple new customers that are excited, or a brand new distributor who just gets it. And that's the treasure hunt. So, and that's on us, and that's our responsibility to go out and be treasure hunters. So with that, I want to thank you for, Tara, sorry we didn't have Lauren join us tonight. We'll get her maybe on the next session, and she's going to owe me a drink in Nashville. So that's on you, right? A couple cocktails in Nashville, Lauren will make up for it. But anything else that you want to add?
No, I just think it, you know, I think we covered state pretty well. And I think if you guys really just think about it and do it, and
be it.
And what?
Be it. Don't think about it. Just
yes, but there is no try. Yoda was right. There is only do. It's just a decision away. So have a great couple of weeks, you guys. If you're coming to Nashville, we're going to have a great time, and I look forward to seeing you there. Please stop and say hello if you see me or Jeff, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Cheerio.